Hello, and welcome to the Who Asked for This podcast, the topical and very nonsensical podcast hosted by me, John. And today I've got Guy with me.
Going on?
You alright, Guy?
Yeah, man.
Do you want to?
We're here to talk about some nonsense.
We have, yeah. In particular, we're going to talk about Wallasey gossip. Now, are you able to explain to our lovely listeners what Wallasey gossip is, Guy?
Let's get right into it. Right, so Wallasey Gossip is it's like a digital retirement home for our local area, and so serves the entire community. And it's been doing so for many, many, many years. Founded at the very, very, very beginning of Facebook. We're talking Farmville being revolutionary. These are the days, man. These are before the boomers were like the old boomers. You know, they were in there like they were still with it. And they all joined Wallasey Gossip, and they all had their lives. Their lives are still happening. It was all still going on. So people would post, and it'd be topical. It'd be what's actually happening, what people are actually doing. Except now, it's just full to the brim with retirees, and all the generations that have come up after them. They don't like them very much.
Yeah. It's. Have you ever heard about the simulation theory?
Oh yeah.
It basically kind of proves that right for me, because these people do just kind of like behave like kind of like NPCs.
I fully believe that we're actually in their simulation. Like once that generation goes out the door, cut to black, man. It's all over. They've had everything.
But just to rewind a bit, like as you said, like it was kind of started in the dawn of Facebook. I remember like coming onto Facebook after like MySpace in like 2009, I think. I was like one of the last true hang-ons to MySpace. Like I really
see MySpace was before my time. Yeah. Like so I was just coming on. I was maybe year 8 or some shit like that. I was like 11, you know what I mean? Getting on there. So that would have been 2011. So I kind of missed that era. So I kind of got in. I mean, with Wallasey Gossip and the shenanigans, that stuff didn't start till I was about 14, well, maybe 13. Yeah. Actually, I was about 13 when I started messing with them. Like, you know, that's when I really cottoned on to what a gold mine we were onto here.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like a bit of an internet veteran. So the thing is with MySpace that you wouldn't like remember, and a lot of other younger people wouldn't remember, is like there were no boomers on that whatsoever. Like our parents didn't know what it was, and they didn't understand it, and they were like terrified of it. You know, I remember like my parents give me lectures on MySpace, going, don't tell them what you're doing today, or otherwise they'll come in the van.
Oh yeah, the internet people are going to come from the internet and get you.
The paedophiles will come and take you in the back of the van. I remember, like, I know we're going off a bit here, we'll get right back onto the subject, but I remember getting a webcam for the first time for my computer, and my stepmom like freaked the fuck out, and she was like, people will be able to see into our home.
See in your home.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. There'll be, because our computer was in like a little study room with like all like the ironing and stuff was done. I was like, oh no, they'll see our ironing board. To bring it back, so I kind of like remember Facebook back before boomers, the older generation to us, kind of like got on it, and Facebook kind of started slowly, like, you know, it was still...
Facebook was the one that pulled them in. It was the one that pulled them in, definitely.
I remember like my parents joining it, and it was kind of like, oh, the good days are over now.
There was nothing that would make your heart drop worse than when your mum joined Facebook. And then they start adding all your mates, and you go, no.
Yeah.
It's just it has been great to witness though in real time the people that freaked out, like you were talking about with the webcam, you know, the people that freaked out about the internet, going, don't believe everything you see on the internet, don't believe it, you need to be so careful. And now they just believe literally everything that's on the internet,
tagging themselves every time they go into like a cafe and everything like that.
We've certainly made them believe some things.
we have. I think as much as it is just a lot of silliness, like I think there's a message behind it on a lot of the stuff we do.
Oh, definitely.
And we'll get into that. But we need to kind of properly explain Wallasey Gossip first before we get into all the array of shit. So basically, like it seems like every town or every like local area has their own kind of like community group on Facebook now, where it's kind of like they'll talk. And
I'm in a lot of them since the exile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, most of them are surprisingly boring and normal.
Yeah. But there did seem something special at Wallasey Gossip. Like, I think I got on it around like 2015. I think I just ghosted on it. So I just kind of like look at what was going on for ages.
Just spectating.
Yeah, and then I think at one point I just started like asking like daft questions, like out of pure curiosity, like, you know, who believes in God and like who believes in ghosts and stuff like that. And to be fair, you'd get like quite like good conversations out of it for the most part and stuff like that. And then I kind of moved on to like posting kind of memes, more like kind of like local area related memes and stuff like that, and a few bits more like nonsense. But like it started creeping in more and more that there were like some real like weird people,
some real oddballs. It's like
they'd be like commenting like the strangest stuff on your things. Like they'd either be taking something like overly serious, or like they'd be completely clueless to like what you were talking about.
So you get that with the wind-ups as well.
Yeah.
When you get someone on the string for a little bit, and they realise after like 4 replies or whatever that you've had their pants down, and then it's just straight to threats of violence and they're straight in the inbox. How many you get them messages where it's just a big long rambling paragraph, or maybe it's the brother of someone you've wound up and now they're going to come smash your head in, and it's in the space of an hour, it's all just gone completely crazy.
So I think like there was one point where there was kind of like free reign all over it. And like if you just wanted to post something up, you would.
And like days.
If you wanted to spark a bit of a kick-off, you would. There'd be a kick-off, and eventually I think the admins would kind of like intervene when as you say, violence or daft shit like that kind of got like brought into it.
Even back in the good old days, like when it got really insane, they would kick in. I do remember that. But like nowadays, you can't even get your foot out the gate. You know what I mean? The second there's a hint of like 3 or 4 haha reactions, that's like the limit. Anything past that, they're on it. It's gone. It's down, regardless of context.
So I think what kind of happened was as the page like grew and grew, the numbers start to grow, and it's really kind of like a sad sign of the times, really. Police would go on it, and then like reporters and journalists would go on it and stuff.
We've had that as well.
And I think the admins of Wallasey Gossip, the people who run that, like that went like straight to their head. Like we are like a proper platform
community
now.
Institution,
we've got like Spider-Man, we've got responsibilities and we've got power. So they really started like clamping down on like anything. It was kind of funny because the group's called Wallasey Gossip, but like as soon as like gossip,
that's
or
the last
drama
thing that they
or any fun or anything like that like begins like to like right, cut that down, because you know we don't want to get a bad reputation off these sources and stuff like that. So that's when it's kind of started going to the dogs a bit, I remember.
I mean, spammers as well, though. You know, our group, we get we just get a bunch of spammers posting absolutely. You know, we've got a kind of, I understand the need for checking someone's legit, and then just like we do, as soon as we know someone's through like the spam filter, they can just post and post and post. But before all that kind of kicked in, like the Wild West days, we're talking 2014. That the way I got into it all with Wallasey Gossip, it was actually my brother who started out. He just got a car. And he went down to Morrison's car park in New Brighton, and he double parked it across 2 disabled bays.
I can't remember.
Yeah. And he gets out with his mate, and they get a picture of them stood by his own car with their arms folded, looking all disappointed, and posted it into Wallasey Gossip saying, "Disgraceful parking today." You know, he tags his friends, going, "He was not impressed." And all these clueless idiots, like this car's like diagonal across as wide as it can be across these disabled bays, and all these idiots are going, "Oh my god, we need to get the officers, we need to get a clamp on this car." And I just went, "Oh my god." There's absolutely no filter here between what you've posted on the page and what these people are believing to be actual fact. Yeah. You know what I mean? There is no mediation here. If you post it and it's in an area that they recognize, context be damned, it's real. You can put whatever you want, and it'll be bought.
That's what like I find 50% hilarious and 50% terrifying, and I think that's kind of what spurred me on to be like a bit of a goblin and a bit of a troll. Is like someone would just put a picture up of literally like a man like with his dog on a lead or something like that, and it'll be like this whole big paragraph of like how this man's like just booted his dog off the prom. You know what I mean?
I'm laughing, but that's because I know that contextually it could just be any old man with a dog, and someone's
had a bit of a bust up with him, and they've had a bit of an argument, and it's just I hate that kind of like like the kind of like witch burning kind of like witch hunts.
Yeah, the witch
So it's
hunting.
like, I'm gonna get a picture of you, put it on the internet, and I'm gonna like paint you out to be like the complete villain, and I'm gonna get everyone on Facebook to like hate you, you know, want to do you harm and stuff like that. So I kind of started like seeing my ass. Like before I kind of really got into the full like mischievous, like just trolling for fun. Like I'd see them post and I would kind of challenge it, and I'd be like, you know, is this true? Like, why are you all believing this just based off nothing? And then everyone would kick off on you, going, oh, what? So you're saying it's all right for dogs to be like kicked off the prom?
Yeah, the mob turns on you then. I mean, we saw that really. I mean, when I really turned weapons grade on them was lockdown, when they were just posting pictures of two people together. You know, don't know if they're related or whatever, but if they were young, if they were teenagers, they just post pictures of them together, and then there'd be comments going, "Hang them all," and all this, and like literally, let's kill these kids because these plague rats are gonna kill us all. And if you did the same thing a year later, if you posted a picture of two young lads a year later saying, "Oh, COVID, COVID, COVID," they were all sick of it by then. The current thing was over, so then they turn it on you.
Yeah, so I think like we both kind of got in this mind frame. So it's separately because we kind of like met each other through our exploits on the on Wallasey gossip. Like, but like you know, I used to like trying to like get them to believe the most like stupid, ridiculous shit. I think the biggest one I did, I think before we even like crossed paths, was you know Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, you know, that's the one that got us.
The scene where Walter White throws the pizza up on the roof. So I got the picture of him from the scene from the episode where he's cleaning the pizza off the roof, and you can basically just see him on top of a ladder scraping a pizza off in a very clearly American neighborhood. Doesn't look anywhere like the Whittle. And I basically put this thing like going like, "This is where were your kids last night?" Because that's a common trope.
That is the phrase.
Where were your kids last night?
Cherubs.
Yeah. They just assume that every parent should then like try and track down the kids and like accuse them of these crimes.
No, there are parents grabbing their kids, going, "Did you do this?" And these poor kids are going, "Mum, that's a scene off Breaking Bad."
Yeah. So I put this thing up and I put the picture up, and it basically said, "This is terrible. Where are your kids?" My dad, who's like 50 and he's got lung cancer, ex-teacher, has to clean this pizza up off the roof that some kids threw. And there was loads of people who were like, and then to be honest, there was a lot of people who were onto it and found it quite funny.
But a lot of people are onto it. They'll try not to show their hand. They don't want to ruin it. I like that. Those are my favourite kind of people, man.
Who play along. But then there were like these really like confused boomers who were like, "Oh my god, it's terrible. I hope your dad's okay," you know.
Set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
One of the most obvious ones, because I suppose to anyone that's listening that's actually not part of Wallasey Gossip, as neither of us now are because we're both banned, just to really illustrate how far you can actually crank the dial before these people will even know something's up. One of the ones I did, I was maybe 15 years old. I got a real picture of Adolf Hitler in a lawn chair, right? Dog by his side. And I just blurred his mustache out of it. He's not in uniform or anything, you know. So I just posted this picture. Man relaxes on New Brighton Beach, 1946. And a load of people in the comments were going, "Oh, great picture. Oh, I remember the beach back in them days." And they're like, "Oh, yes, it was wonderful, wasn't it?" Maybe 2 hours in, someone comments, "Hang on a minute. Is that Adolf Hitler?" And the next thing you know, all the boomers are posting like Holocaust memorial stuff in Wallasey Gossip. I'm posting about anti-Semitism.
I mean that's it. It'll go to the furthest extreme. Like, have you ever heard the term of like a straw man? Like in an argument, the whole term of a straw man. They'll kind of paint like this picture of this person who just like clearly doesn't exist. So say if someone's like moaning about like, I don't know, like something trivial like the road closure or something like that. And then there'll be like, everyone's like, "Oh, it's good. Like, I'm glad the work's getting done." There'll always be like one person where they'll be like, "Oh, but what if there's a disabled girl who's blind and she needs to go to the hospital and she can only go down that road?"
Yeah. These idiots, man.
And it's like, first of all, that person just doesn't exist, and that won't ever happen.
They'll just use a different road. That person will not be driving. They'll use a different.
that's something I've kind of used against him in like my little trolling
but
things.
becoming the ultimate straw man is the best way to be. All you do, a lot of people, they think we're cyber bullies, they think we're going there, calling people ugly, and we're not doing that.
That's something I would like to like touch on just ever so slightly, is like the kind of fact that like the modern term of trolling is kind of just like related to like bullying, and that's not what trolling
At
kind of
all.
was
What
back
you
in
see
the
in the
day.
media is not what's actually going. I mean, that does
Yeah,
exist. Yeah,
that does happen.
the vast majority is people having. It's like the internet's version of a practical joke,
Yeah,
essentially.
pretty much. That's where it came from. That's where it, like, originated and stuff like that. Where it was all just kind of basically like kind of getting a bit of laugh off people's confusions
It's
because they
been
weren't.
mangled. It's been mangled
Yeah, like
completely.
people not really being in on the joke and just kind of like finding it a bit funny that you could, and seeing how far you could get it. Like, back in the day there was the famous like pools closed.
Oh yeah.
Like 4chan and stuff like that, where they'd like ring up and ask for Battletoads at like every game shop and stuff like that. And it's like it's funny to everyone who's in on it, but the people who aren't in on it are just like confused and like, what the fuck.
I've always said, if you don't get it, you're the target.
Pretty
That's kind
much.
of how
And
I've put it.
at the end of the day, yeah, there are there are targets, and there are people who do get the brunt of it, but
Yeah,
like it's never like harmful or like cruel or
No,
like ill intentioned.
there was always a few regular commenters that I'd come across where I go, "Oh God, this person." There's someone that would consistently bite the bait every single time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I feel bad for it? No. No, no. They'd be in some other comment section writing them long, rambling first drafts and drunk driving their keyboard all over someone's day. If we were like the tanks, we were the sponges that would absorb all the idiots for the day and keep them busy.
Yeah, so I think going back to like the straw man thing. So basically, like what I would do is like a generic, like a lot of things that they'd always like go off on about is like dogs and cats. And if there's like a dog in the road, they'd like put this thing up on. There's a dog in the road. There's a dog in the road. Whose is this dog? So I'd always claim that the dog was mine, and I'd kind of be like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's all right. Just leave him. And then people would be like commenting, going like, you need to get your dog in. Why ain't you bothered about your dog? And I'm like, oh, I can't get out with him, so I just let him go out.
Hate him.
Hate him. And then I remember one time they were like, you should be taking him out for a walk and stuff like that. And I was like, I can't because I've got mental health.
Communities like that, especially groups. I like joining a lot of groups, not just Wallasey Gossip, but like very specific groups.
Yeah.
So you've got obviously animals. I joined a duck group. I had some real great fun with the duck people. But houseplants was the best one I've ever got. The most insane people I've ever come across on the internet. Houseplant Addicts UK. If you're not banned already, get in. I was living in Seacombe at the time. I had a pineapple plant. Them little, they do them in the supermarkets now. You get that like tiny little pineapple that's growing growing in that little tree, and they put it in like a cool pot or whatever.
Yeah.
I had one of them. And I stuck it on my window ledge, let it get in the way of the blinds of it, and I took a picture. And I posted it to Houseplant Addicts UK, and I said, "Help with this hideous houseplant. My wife, my non-existent wife, has brought home this houseplant and refuses to move it or get rid of it. Anyways, she's out of town on a business trip for 3 days. How can I make it look like it's died naturally?" I expected these people to go, "Oh no, please don't kill the plant. Please just move it. Don't do that." No. You shouldn't be married if you can't even, if you could be so underhanded and go behind your wife's back. And people were digging on my page trying to contact family members, trying to find this woman and warn her.
That's one thing about like kind of like the trolling and stuff like that, where I always kind of think like, oh, it's going too far, and it does anger me a bit, is like when they do get on your profile and they start like bringing up, obviously because like I've got kids and all shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And then like they'll bring stuff up about your kids, and you're like, you are fucked in the head.
I've had them leave reviews on the band's page, but really what I do is, dude, just keep taking W's. I reckon fine tune yourself. So when they go to your profile, you got to fine tune your page so that when they come to your page, obviously I do the Jeremy Kyle thing. Stick my face on Jeremy Kyle and that. Where if you do anger someone to the point of just going on your page, they'll realize that they've been had straight away. Yeah, you gotta kind of protect yourself though, because there are some real lunatics out there. I mean, the houseplant people were sending me death threats. You know what I mean? I was sending them pictures actually holding the leaves on a plant in my house, saying one more message and the citrus tree gets it. You know, taking a leaf off and sending another picture. I had to do it to calm them down. You know.
I remember one time something went like too far and people kind of like really took it well above and beyond. It was like typical thing where it's just like, people will believe anything, especially when it comes to like pets and stuff like that. So I had a picture of like my mum's old cat, which was the cat that lived there when I lived there when I was a kid. Oh, obviously it's like long dead now. So I put a picture of the cat up. I was basically like, "Oh, where are your kids? Someone's just thrown cider all over me cat."
Cider?
Yeah, it was something like that, cider or beer or something. Someone's just poured a can of beer over me cat. But it's all right because I like the smell of it, so I'm not bothered. And then everyone was like, "Yo, you're horrible animal cruelty." I was like, "I didn't put the beer over it." And then eventually, like, I kind of snapped and I went, "You know what? You're all idiots. Like, this cat's dead." And then they were like, "What?" And then I was like, "Yeah," and I put the picture up of like my mum's post of like, rest in peace, Gil and the cat. And they were like, "You've just," and then that was it. Then they all leaped on me and they were like, "You've gone on someone's page and took their cat. You're making fun of someone's dead cat." I was kind of like, "No, it's my fucking dead cat." But they just weren't having it. They were like,
recycled the cat.
yeah. They were like, "You've just." It was like, "This is horrible. That poor like person's cat is mourning the death of the cat. The cat died like 10 years ago." And then it did get to the point where like people were like really like coming in hard on me. I was like, right, I'm gonna have to just like delete this post.
If we're getting into the territory of like times it's gone too far,
because anytime I posted after that, I had certain particular people
guy,
who would come in and then they'd like DM me like pitch screenshots of the cat thing and be like, "We know what you did. We're gonna," you know what I mean?
Yeah, you drank your cat to death.
Yeah. Yeah, so it has definitely. I'm pretty sure you've got a few times where it went a bit too far.
Oh God, I don't know where to begin. I mean, there was maybe 2022 or 2021. There was an era where I literally couldn't go to the pub without someone coming up and grabbing me, going, "You're that fella on Facebook, aren't you?" And that most of the time it was positive interactions. It was people going, "Mate, keep doing what you're doing. Wallasey gossip. You're making me laugh my ass off and all that." But sometimes you'd have someone that'd be like, "You trolled my auntie," and they're hammered and they're shouting at you, and you just go, "Yeah, mate, I trolled your auntie. Well done." But that does pale in comparison. There was a group called, oh, this is going to be a long story, HMP Banter. HMP Banter was a bunch of ex-convicts.
God,
bunch of ex-convicts that were having a laugh about life on the wings, basically spending their time out of prison to talk about their time in prison, like real winners. I joined that group with my username, my name on Facebook at the time was Rex Butt. Rex ass, like it's a joke, you know what I mean? I came into this group and I realised posts needed approval, but they couldn't stop you going live. Yeah. So I just get I get bandana on, I get my sunglasses on. It was lockdown, there's fuck all else to do, and I just do these live streams where I just go live. And I'd be like, "Yeah, that's right. I'm Rex Butt. I'm the new king of the wing. I'm the big man. I was in prison. You were all my bitches. Just going on and on." And I developed this little following of absolute retards. They'd come on like, "Oh, Rex, I'd smash your head in. I'd do this and that." And it's very easy to just save their photo, go into Snapchat, cut round their head, stick them on animals that are shagging or whatever, put the nan on top and, just get these people really enraged with the click of a few buttons. And before you know it, I've got this group, 10,000 members. The main draw that's happening in this group at the moment is Rex versus everybody else. And the admins were in on it, and I was even giving the admins grief. I was going, "I don't care. I don't need to be an admin to run this group." You know what I mean? Like just really going hard in the paint. It came to a head one day where they tried to get rid of me. I just came right back, but I stuck my head on Jesus on the cross and called it the Rexurrection. And the live streams just continued. Flat at the time with an attic, and I hung a tapestry up. I had a table, I had a chair, an ashtray, and an incense burner. I'd sit down. I'd set up a camera on like a tripod. I'd go live at 7 p.m. on the dot every night with my roommate kind of like running the camera. And I'd be sat in my chair. I could hear what was going on with a headphone. and you can bring one person onto a Facebook Live at a time, but up to five people can queue up to come on the live.
Yeah.
And all my regulars, all the people I was arguing with all day, mostly while I was in work, I'd do the phone stuff, and then I'd come home and do the live show. They'd all be queuing up to take it up with me, all the grief I've been giving them all day. And these screaming idiots would come on one after another, and we just have like essentially roast battles, where we were screaming at each other like proper. But these guys, I'm having a good time. I'm laughing and smiling. Yeah. These guys are mad. These guys are like some Northern Scottish dudes that are just screaming into the camera like in all this slang I don't understand about how they're going to come fuck me up and stuff. And well, one day I'm in work, minding my business. My phone just starts going crazy. And I'm like, what's going on here? And it's HMP banter. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's see what these idiots are on about. You know what I mean? It's just another day. And someone had posted a Google Earth view of my house at the time. What car I drive, my real name.
Oh, you got doxed.
Yeah, I got doxed. I got doxed hard. Basically, all my personal information. So it was like Rex Butt unmasked,
Yeah.
All these people that I've been giving grief to for months. All these ex-convicts I've been giving grief to for months. All of a sudden, they're feeling pretty confident in themselves, and they're going, "Oh, so how we doing, guy?" And I'm like, I'm in work. I just shit a brick straight away, and I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? I'm thinking about the fact that to get to my flat at the time, I'm like, okay, you got one door there, and then there's another door, and then there's people living nearby going, hang on, I actually live near this guy. The two Scottish fellas who I really used to go in on, they were planning on coming down together to fuck me up.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, don't you?
I realised that basically at that point, it's either you scrub yourself from the internet and hope it all blows over, but that never really works, or you double down, and that's the route I took. So I basically went, yeah, that's right, that's my gaff, come and get it, come and get it, I'm waiting for you, just really kind of I kind of cranked the dial on the character I was already playing, you know what I mean? Luckily, Facebook stepped in, completely nuked my account to the point where I actually cannot make a Facebook account on an Android device. So I had to switch to iPhone just to A, have a Facebook, and B, get back into Wallasey Gossip. If I tried to make one on a different phone, it'd be like, nah, mate, we're not having you. Yeah, I got zucked, but I think mostly to save myself.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. That to go back a bit, we're both having our fun on Wallasey Gossip for quite some time. And then obviously once we kind of like found out about each other and started like collaborating, and kind of like if you do a wind up, I'd jump in on it, or like I'd play a character to help like get more responses and stuff like that. Eventually, you got banned first, and then I got banned like shortly after.
I think you just went hog wild after I got banned.
I did,
you were like, this is it. This is the Kamikaze Boys. Here we go. And then we got our little following together, and people started doing stuff on our behalf.
Yeah. So after we both got banned, I think we both were like, right, how can we still wind Wallasey Gossip up without being in Wallasey Gossip? And I think, was it like my idea to like create like a group? So like Facebook has these like joke groups called like shit posting. It's called like shit posting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'll be called something that I think like one of the most popular ones is obviously like the Simpsons shit posting.
It'll be Simpsons posting.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I came up with one like Wallasey Gossip posting. And we got like a little fan base, didn't we, of like a few of your friends, a few of my friends, stuff like that. And we were kind of using that to like put on. So we put on that group going, guys, everyone go on to Wallasey Gossip and comment this or ask that and stuff like that. And we were noticing, or we were doing wind ups on other groups and Wallasey Gossip, I think, at the same time. But what we'd notice is as soon as we'd acknowledge it in the group, the post to be like taken down.
Yeah.
So be like, right, we're getting spied on it. You know what I mean? They're in our group and they're catching on to everything we do. So I kind of thought like, right, we need to kind of like, it was like, how can we get them without them like knowing? And I thought we need like a real like covert like operation here. I thought the best way to kind of get them is to try and make someone post something naturally without, well, obviously with our influence, but without them knowing it's our influence, and get it onto the Wallasey Gossip. So that's where one of our biggest schemes, Headingate, kind of birthed from.
Yeah, we realised the internet's not the way to it. We've got to get them in the real world where they have no power.
Yeah. So I came up with this idea. So there's this place near ours called like Flynn's Peace. It's basically just a square of grass and some trees, and it serves no purpose whatsoever. It's just like a little green square in the middle of a street. And the funny thing is like people are always like dead defensive about it. So like every couple of years, a rumor will come out the blue that the council are going to sell it off for like houses or flats or something like that.
Well, we're behind some of them.
Yeah, well, this is it basically. So I was like, I know that's like a hot button topic, Flynn's Peace. So that's me target.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Flynn's Peace actually had anything going on. I thought it was literally just a neglected patch
That's
of grass.
the point. No, yeah, I know, but that's the point. It is, but people get so defensive over it because it's technically like public land. It was something like Captain Flynn or whatever, like gifted that square of grass to the public of Wallasey.
2p at the time, yeah.
So like they do get like very like defensive about it and very, this is ours, it belongs to the people, the council can't sell it, and stuff like that. So I made these flyers, which was literally just text on a blank sheet of paper, and it just said the following words: say no to Heron Foods on Flynn's Peace.
Wasn't it the construction, or was it just...
It was just to Heron Foods on Flynn's Peace.
That's better.
So I think we printed off about 10, 15 copies or something like that. And I just went down like one evening and stuck it on like the lampposts and the signs around the park and was like, right, let's just leave that there now and see what happens.
It was, if I remember rightly, it was only about 2 hours before it ended up Wallasey Gossip.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. So I think I put them up in the evening, but the thing was it was like shitty weather and it was pissing it down. So what we also did is we were kind of like, we set up our own little private group and we were saying to them like, look, we're going to like pull off this big like Heron's Gate operation. So like all at the same time, everyone needs to start talking about the Heron's Gate that's getting put up on like Flynn's Peace. And I think people were a bit like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. They weren't like super enthusiastic about it at first. But then the next morning, like pretty early morning, obviously as the dog walkers come out,
yeah,
someone puts a picture up. No one from our group, no one that we like wanted to put a picture up, like a complete randomer, just puts a picture up on Facebook on Wallasey Gossip going, just seen this sign outside Flynn's Peace. They're going to build a Heron Foods outside it. And it just, after that, it just erupted, didn't it? Like, we were all just watching it in live time. Like, it spiraled off, and it was like, the typical things of like, oh, no, they can't do that. Flynn's Peace is public-owned land, and, oh, the bloody council, I can't believe they're just doing that for money and stuff like that.
Hundreds of complaints that they got in the space of 24 hours. Yeah. It was fantastic.
But it got dark fast, like it always does on these things. It got out of hand fast because on that street there's a hotel
with the migrants and
like
people were saying they're putting it there for the migrants, and then the anti-migrant and the pro-migrant people started having it out over this Heron Foods that never existed.
So we were all like watching it in like live time and that like laughing and shit like that. I remember like I went out to Asda. The missus had to pick something up from Asda. I'm like waiting in the car, and she comes in the car with this like proper like dead serious face, and she was like, "They're talking about Heron's Gate and they're talking about Heron Foods in Asda." I was like, no, they're not. Shut up. And she was like, they are. I was behind the queue. These two women were talking about they want to get their sons to like apply for jobs there and stuff like that. Oh, no. So I was like, this is broke out into something else.
I realised when all my friends started messaging me going, "Oh, guy, my mum and dad's raging about this Heron Foods." But I took one look at it and thought, you'd have something to do with this. Like, is it you? I was like, I might know something, I might not.
So it got to a point, didn't it, where it was like, right, let's like terrorist style, let's take accountability for this.
Let's claim the attack.
Yeah. So we put it on the group, and immediately Wallasey Gossip was just like trying to scrub it completely off their group.
Yeah, the second they realised something was off. Yeah.
Yeah, they were scrubbing like anything to do with Heron Foods off it, but then they were still getting like random boomers like posting stuff up about it.
I think that's probably because the journalists hit them up, like, because they were the epicenter of the rumour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as soon as they realised their good name could possibly be tarnished, that was it. They just wanted to go nuclear on it.
I've just realised we haven't actually explained what a Heron Foods is. For anyone who doesn't know, Heron Foods is a very, very crappy, like low price discount store.
Like Soviet Union level.
Yeah. Like it's always got a reputation for like it smells inside. Like like you walk in it, and it's like a different. It's like the back rooms.
Brands you've never heard of.
It's got a horrible piss yellow filter all throughout the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the road where Flint's Pieces on is like quite a
Always reminds me of the Super Duper Mart out of Fallout 3.
Yeah, it's like Flint's Pieces on like quite a nice area of like Wallasey Village, like Grove Road, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously the residents are like fuming.
Yeah, the middle class. If it was a Waitrose, they might have been all right with it.
Yeah. So that was like the biggest thing that kind of like broke out outside of just basic like internet like mischief. It got to the point where like the council was getting like hounded.
Yeah, they had to put a statement up saying
like some Tory MP
councillor,
Tory councillor. Yeah. He put this statement up and he was like, they're known by the two.
There's no planning application for any construction. In fact, we've only put a permit in to clean the grass up. Like that's all we've done. We said we're going to tidy up a little bit. There's no Heron Foods. There's no supermarket. Please be careful about your sources and what you read online.
I remember them like calling us out. Do you remember that where they were like, they were like
the Chuckle Brothers?
Yeah, the Chuckle Brothers said this is a common thing from a group that have a competition to see who can wind up the most people. So like to just go a bit more into like the group that we made and some of the shenanigans went on there because obviously it was a joke group and we set it up to be a joke group and we made it very obvious it's a joke group. Like if you look at like the banner, like it's just like
we've had some reverse migration where it's actually the clueless people are coming into the group for people that are there to wind up the clueless people.
Then they all get jumped on.
Yeah,
and then we've had times like as you said with the whole prison thing and stuff like that. We've had times where people are like getting jumped on and like they've took it too far and it's like right, you know.
People posting stuff about their exes and like the things that actual Wallasey gossip admins should actually moderate, you know, not inane jokes, you know.
I think one of the like more serious ones that at the time I was a bit like concerned about, like, oh, this is fucking bit shit, was like some daft like Facebook mum put a post up about like a daughter like getting kicked in school or something like that.
Oh yeah, and the police like, being involved.
A pregnant daughter getting kicked in school, but she wasn't going on about the pregnant daughter being kicked in school. It was like naming and shaming the girl that had allegedly done that action, but it turned out that she hadn't done that action. But she put the post up, and because it's a wind-up group, like everyone was just like
ripping the piss out of this person.
just taking the piss. Like they weren't taking the piss out like obviously at the victim or the target or the girls or anything like that. They were just like kind of taking the piss in general of like you know, the person who's posted this thing. And then like I kept getting like report requests to take the post down. I was like, no, keep it up. It's a bit of a laugh.
We don't take stuff down unless we
don't take stuff down. Like, you know, we want to be a very like free and liberal kind of group, unlike Wallasey Gossip. And then I got this message from like, I don't know who she was, but she was like, she worked in some kind of fucking child fucking support or whatever the fuck. And she was like, you need to take this down because like police are on it. And basically the woman's lied. Like the girl never did any of the stuff that they're accusing of. And because obviously it involves like fucking girls in the school, it's like the minors and they're getting put all over the internet. So I was like, yeah, shit, I better take that down. So it did.
Yeah, imagine getting summons to court and you have to stand there as some kind of expert witness and explain yourself.
So you are the owner and creator of Wallasey Gossip posting. Yeah, so that was a bit shit. And we did have to like stamp down on that a bit and be like, right guys, you know, just a message to everyone. This is a joke group. Do not post anything fucking serious in this post group, otherwise, you know, you will get some fucking daft responses and stuff like that.
The problem you've got is that there is a subset of the population that is just so far cooked in the head, like so beyond daft, that there's no filtration whatsoever. It can be glaringly obvious. We can have all the flashing lights saying, you know, this is not a serious page, this is not the place for this. I mean, nowhere's really the place for stuff like that anyway, you know. But like these people, like I don't want to say NPCs. I don't want to say NPCs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a level of the lights being on, but no one being home, where it's just kind of
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always like one of the common types of people you run into on these groups. Things go over their heads. and they just don't get it, no matter like how like obvious it can be. And I think we had this one person who's like an enigma to everyone on our group
I know
called
who it is.
Chris Wharton.
Chris
Got
Wharton.
no profile picture. Eight friends, which is more recent. I think originally they had
like
two
Yeah,
Facebook
two.
friends. And I think at first, like, I think they were just regularly like commenting on stuff, and then we were doing tournaments with, so we were doing like kind of funny tournaments, like what's like the worst shop.
It was the tagging. It was the tagging that got him, or I'm going to say her. Well, he claims to be. Well, it's ambiguous. It is. It's an entity, Chris Wharton.
Yeah, like Chris is mostly known for like a male name.
Yeah,
so we've just kind of always associated
a female
it as
Chris with no profile picture could be any combination of things.
But I think what triggered them was like on the worst shop tournament there was a charity shop, and they were like, you shouldn't be like making fun of a charity shop and all stuff like that. Obviously, because we just want to be like wind up and we're not asked. We're just like, nah, shut up. The charity shops are
charity.
shit. Yeah. I hate charity. Fuck charity.
Fuck the Heart Foundation.
And that was it. Then like everything we ever post on that group, they'll comment like calling us like wankers and stuff like that.
This person does not have like the digital sense to find the way out of our group. They cannot find the leave button. So they're stuck in our group. Yeah, they're stuck in this hell that they've created for themselves, where they can't figure out how to get out of the group, but they're getting notifications for probably everything we post. So every post that goes in the group, we just get one word comments like wanker, fuck off,
scum,
scum,
and then you'll respond back on like, you can just leave, mate, and then you'll be like, I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
So that's kind of what spared that's kind of what kind of like spared the joking that he's a he on. It was like, no, you're not, Chris. Don't lie.
Well, without giving anything away, I would like to tease to anyone that's made it this far that we do have another one cooking on the scale, I'd say probably past the scale of Harringate by the time it's all played out.
Yeah, this is mostly your operation, this, isn't it? I haven't had much involvement in it, to be honest. I didn't even know if it was still going ahead, to be honest.
It is. It's highly. I've just been so. You know how it is, man. You got to find. There's people that have the time for this kind of thing, and we're kind of in that Venn diagram.
Yeah.
People who want to do this kind of thing, and people that have the time, and we're just in this tiny little overlap where we can just about make it work, because unlike the denizens of Wallasey gossip, we actually have lives.
Yeah, that was always like the funniest thing. Like going back to like, when you're starting to get like attacked by people on Wallasey gossip, and they'd like give the typical like, that's what I mean when you say like, the lights are on but no one's home. Like all they know what to do is like call you certain things and like the most basic of insults, and they'd be like,
press button.
They'd be like,
a toy where you pull the back of it.
They'd be like, shut up, you live in your mum's basement, and it's like, actually, no, I live in a house with my kids and my partner.
I live in my mum's attic, actually. So take that, a penthouse suite.
They call you an incel, and he's like, yeah, I've got 2 kids. Like, don't worry about me. I've had sex.
I'll take that insult all day long.
I know, yeah. But it's just, that's what I mean. It's so funny because like they just don't help themselves, because they try and like give it back and attack.
If they call you an insult, just be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, that's always the funniest thing, to lean into it, isn't it?
Hold up the mirror of what they think you are, and just literally just hold it up to them and let them just. That's when you get the real paragraphs get going.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest things you do, and I have like rubbed it off you because it is funny, is basically when people give you a big massive paragraph, a big response, usually when you're like talking shit and you're saying something like parrots don't exist, and they'll like start like putting down all this evidence and proof of like parrots existing.
I'm against green energy, or I don't want people to barbecue on the dips because the smoke isn't vegan.
So they proper give off these really long like descriptive messages to you, and then you just respond with, too long, didn't read that.
Yeah, and then they go, well, clearly I shouldn't bother conversing with you, because you're too stupid. You haven't got the brains. You haven't got the brains to read what I've written. I'll go, nope, just can't be asked. Just can't be asked. A lot of the time, I'll actually just skim the first 3 lines of the comment, and then respond based on that, just to give my response the authenticity of, I actually have not read anything you've said. I want to literally just take one glance at it and then just come up with some derivative insults, and then try and steer the conversation to a different direction. And then they've got this big meaty several points laid out, and they go, "You haven't addressed any of my points. You can't just doze past me and say you're right and I'm wrong." And I'm like, "Well, I'm right and you're wrong."
Yeah, I think like throughout all of this, obviously the enemy number ones have been the admins of Wallasey Gossip, and I think you've spoken to them more than I ever have. I'm sure. Like what I believe is like there's some that are like pretty sound and they're in on the joke and they find it funny, and then you've just got the complete like opposite who just like want to police it like Nazi Germany style,
you've got the
stuff like
Karens,
that.
absolutely. Yeah. Like first off, I want to say if the Wallasey Gossip admin team ever says that they do not negotiate with terrorists, they're liars. Right, they've came crawling into my DMs more times than I can count it. I'll say it openly, you know what I mean? What's happened with Wallasey Gossip is it was set up by Andrew Peckham, right?
Shout out Andrew Peckham.
Big shout out Andy P. And what's happened is over the years, the admin team, as the group's grown to whatever it is, 20,000 members, as the admin needs have grown and the tools that the actual website offers have got more and more advanced, he's brought in people. Now, the people that want to be an admin in Wallasey Gossip, there's probably a good few, but the people that can actually keep up with 20,000 of these idiots, it's people with a lot of time on their hands, basically. So it's become almost like this SIF council of the biggest Karens in the neighborhood, basically being Facebook police for the entire Wirral. And as absurd as that sounds, that's because it is. And he owns the group, but he can't run it without these people. And the only people that have actually stayed in long term for years and years and years to actually make sure this group can function is these hyper vigilant, no fun can be allowed, stamp everything out, take everything so serious. There are a couple of admins that knew exactly what we were doing. They'd let us have our fun. And there was kind of this understanding where I'd get hundreds of people, hundreds of comments, and it would go on for maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then the post would get nuked. I'd have my screenshots, I'd have my album. Yeah. I'd be happy. And then I'd get muted for a month because it's a big headache to deal with all the comments that get reported and this and that. And then that was kind of the understanding that we had. And that went out the window. You know what I mean? We had a good deal going where I'd bring engagement through the roof for the page, and then one day I think the people, there was admins on the team that were going, no, this can't stand, they can't be saying these things. They can't be saying that wind turbines are killing all the birds, or they can't say marine lakes are natural wonder. They can't say. I think it was Herringate that really pushed them. Actually, no, Herringate was post. No.
We were both off it by Herringate.
Yeah. So what was it that pushed them over the edge for me? I think it was maybe when I claimed that they were putting a wind turbine in the sea. Maybe when I claimed that was an oil rig. It was around then. Yeah. And I was saying the oil rig's brilliant, but we just need to get rid of all these eyesores, these wind turbines.
Yeah, I think where they lost it with me was like, I remember like one person in particular would like constantly comment and like cry emoji whenever they commented. And I think they were trying, like, this person was obviously trying to like tag it and document it so she could like just hand it all into the admins and stuff like that. Because eventually, anytime I comment, she'd like comment underneath going, "This man is a well-known nuisance and he should be banned," and stuff like that. So and I think the profile picture was like some kind of like something that comes straight out of a sarcophagus or something like that. Like the old chocolate woman off SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
like as you said back in the beginning, I think it was like, obviously, as you say, it's set up for fun by like Peckham and the likes of that. But then when it started like getting this like serious power where like, stuff like newspapers and stuff like that.
It's almost like Facebook itself, isn't it? It's like how Facebook started out for fun with college kids, and then it's just grown into this giant, like, if they knew what they were creating, would they have went ahead with it? It's followed the same pattern.
It has, yeah. And I think, like, obviously, because they're like cited as like news sources now.
Well, we saw that firsthand, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
That's another thing that sent them crawling into my DMs was Herringate. They were like, "Was this you guys? I've got a journalist asking me my personal information." I was like, "That's right, you do." Like, I sent them to you.
We've had some fun.
We're going to
continue having fun. And maybe one day we can return to Wallasey Gossip.
I think we've got a lot to still go over, but I think take this as a foundational episode. Think of this as like a recurring thing where we'll pour over the records. I've got so much to get into. Maybe we could even find a way of showing some screenshots as well of the show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Going posting pictures in Llangollen and saying how lovely it is. Just a shame about all the shopkeepers speaking Welsh. What is it that they don't want the rest of us living in the 21st century speaking English to hear and getting hundreds of angry Welsh people or farmers? We could go and it's a lot of fun.
I think the biggest takeaway from kind of some of the stuff you've mentioned there is obviously like how defensive people get over such like trivial things. Like obviously with the houseplant things, like obviously if you like houseplants and you're in a houseplant group, you're obviously going to like them, but you've got to understand that, not everyone has the same love for houseplants as you do.
Yeah, but you're
and
not
at the end of the day,
someone to step into your group.
They're only houseplants. Like, it's not,
Yeah, but the fact that you can get someone sending death threats and trying to break up a non-existent marriage in 10 minutes flat, it tells you there's a lot of some very highly wound people walking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some very high-strung dudes just waiting to strike. And the second you hold up, say they're into houseplants and you're the I want to kill houseplants guy. The second you hold up an antithesis to themselves, they really want to let it out. You know what I mean? Be the straw man. Really, all I do is talk a bunch of crap. It's all shite. That's all there is to it. And I'm going to keep posting shite, and I'm going to keep talking shite, and I'll be back here to talk more shite very soon.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been the Who Asked for This podcast. Check us out on our socials and yada, yada, yada. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.